This week, during a very special lunch break, the debate to end all debates. 2 men enter, but only 1 man will win you over. Answering your questions, hurling below the belt insults, and definitely intending to follow through with all of their campaign promises. Who will come out on top? Or bottom? There's only one way to find out. Sponsored by Caucasity Seasoning, Buco del Culo Resort, and the Beards and Sundries Market, welcome to Debate 2022. That's right, Beardos. Welcome back to episode 19. Jay and Anthony are back at the market today, so we'll check in with them later. But today's sundry item is debates. I am joined today by 2 very important candidates who are here to represent their genuine beliefs, their platforms, and why they deserve your vote. Now, one of today's sponsors, the Beards and Sundries Market, would like you to know that if you're new to the show and you're wondering what the hell a sundry is, the term comes from an Old English word meaning odds and ends. Today, it's used mainly in retail to group together items that otherwise wouldn't have a group of their own. So, as a gay man with a beard, I'm using the term today to group together the wide range of topics that we cover. Now, like I said, we have 2 candidates in our debate ring tonight. First up, we have Bill Chex-Mix.
Today's America is in shambles. Democrats in office want our country to collapse. They want to take away our guns from mass shooters. And they want better health care for the people beneath us. They want people to make personal decisions about their bodies and let anyone marry each other. I say, let's take America back and stop letting the far left better society. I'm Bill Chex-Mix, and I'm running for Senate. I know many stories have come out about my secret abortions I paid for and gay lovers, but while they're all true, those shouldn't matter, because I decided to run for office. The Bible specifically says a lot of things that I'm cherry-picking for my campaign, and I'll recklessly repeat those things out of context for my gains. Many people say that Republicans are experts at gaslighting, but you can count on me not to do that because my house is all electric. Though I do have 8 oil wells in my backyard, so I'm still all for oil. So stop thinking about what you can do to help better society around you and vote for me. I'm Bill Chex-Mix, and I approve this message.
Mr. Chex-Mix, welcome to the stage.
Thank you for taking the time from the Beards and Sundries podcast to host, Joe. You're a beautiful man with a beautiful smile.
Oh.
And I just want to keep this brief. Voting for Ted will get you nowhere. Only a stiff, overconfident pushover of a businessman. I, Bill Chex-Mix, will bring you down to earth country governing, where we'll rope up the mean old coyotes in government, the Democrats, and protect our herd, you, the people. You're a great herd, one that will treat us well, right until you're butchered by a Democrat in office, or by my pushover opponent, Ted Cheerio. Thank you.
Very compelling beginning argument, Mr. Chex-Mix. That brings us to our next contender. Please welcome Mr. Ted Cheerios.
Bill Chex-Mix claims to support oil, but did you know he buys reusable straws and has an electric-powered hedge trimmer? Bill Chex-Mix claims to support the Second Amendment, but refused to comment when asked about his position on arming kindergartners with oil-powered anti-air rockets. Bill Chex-Mix barely even mentions our Lord and Savior Donald J. Trump in his ad campaigns. Bill Chex-Mix isn't the candidate for a pro-Christian autocracy that shoots liberals on sight while claiming to be pro-life. A vote for Bill Chex-Mix is a vote for Antifa. That's why I'm running against him. My hedge trimmer, my lawnmower, even my wife's vibrator all run on good old-fashioned oil. When my daughter came out as a Liz Cheney supporter, I gave my other 3 children automatic rifles and set them loose on my 1,000-acre property to hunt her for sport. I am not ashamed to say I sucked Donald Trump's teeny-weeny peeny like a true patriot would. This November, vote for a real American. Vote for Ted Cheerios. I'm Ted Cheerios, and I approve this message.
Mr. Cheerios, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Joe. You are an adequate man. I would never call another man beautiful, because I am not a homosexual like Mr. Bill Checksmix is, with his secret gay lovers. That's why you should vote for me. Ted Cheerios, a real American whose only penis I will suck is America's penis. Donald J. Trump's. I see that my opponent has come armed with absolutely no American flags.
Yes, that is very true, Mr. Cheerios, thank you.
If you want our country to fail and have no American flags, then go ahead and vote for Bill Checksmix. A weak-willed man with absolutely no flags on his lapel and electricity in his home instead of gas-powered everything.
What a charged opening statement, Mr. Cheerios. Thank you. Now, I will be taking a break from store duties this week to act as moderator for this debate. For this debate. Hopefully we can keep things civil, mature, and organized. You know, like a real live debate, right?
I guarantee you will absolutely get the most respectful conversation from me, unlike my trash competitor.
I have never been offensive to another man in my life. I believe that qualifies as homosexuality.
Very compelling opening statements from both of you. Thank you. Now, we have collected a very important list of burning questions submitted by some very special beardos out there, and I am here to collect the answers that they are all very excited for. Gentlemen, shall we begin?
Yes.
Of course.
Now, first up, Patrick from right here in Oklahoma submitted 3 questions.
Hello, Patrick. I believe you are an adequate man. Good for you. A human American man.
Thank you for being very concerned about our opinions, and we care about you.
Now, Patrick has submitted 3 questions for us. Number 1, we'll go right into it. Who is your top pick for DP? Let's start with you, Mr. Cheerios. Who is your top pick for DP?
Well, as I've said before, there is only one man whose penis I enjoy, and that is Donald J. Trump. So I would have sex with Donald J. Trump and another clone of Donald J. Trump.
Oh, okay. And Mr. Checksmix, your DP.
I am a man of the people, and I support the Americans around me, and what I want is a nice DP from anyone in our nation who supports me. I will be 3P'd.
3P'd, you say?
Can America really trust a man who's so willing to have sex with so many other men at once?
My DP that I would vote for, though, is democracy. I want to be DP'd by democracy.
Very interesting.
It sounds like socialism to me, with everyone in your hole, giving anyone access to your booty.
Buddy-wuddy, I believe is the layman's term.
I don't want to finish it all. I want the people to finish. I want you all to DP me.
Very good right out of the gate. Now, question 2 from Patrick in Oklahoma. Are you for a policy of mandatory fisting? Mr. Checksmix, you're first up on this one.
Absolutely. I think mandatory fisting is very popular, and I think it's very important for our democracy to hold your fist in the air and say America is free, and I will not let anyone not fist me.
Yes, very good. Okay, Mr. Cheerios, what is your stance on the policy of mandatory fisting?
I believe mandatory fisting is as American as apple pie. Every woman should be fisted by her husband whenever she doesn't bake the roast correctly, or whenever she hasn't made the sandwich with the specified amount of meat and cheese ratio.
Okay, very good. And for our final question from Patrick here in Oklahoma, where do you stand on the everyone must swallow bill? Mr. Cheerios.
I am absolutely against mandatory swallowing. When your wife burns the roast or does not make the sandwich with the proper meat-to-cheese specified ratio, you should not have to swallow her horrible food.
Okay, Mr. Chex Mix.
See, this is where my opponent has it wrong. This bill is for helping you swallow what the Democrats are telling us so we can overpower them with our democratic values of voting. And I am gonna swallow everything they give me until I'm full of it and I finish them off.
You just heard my opponent here first, folks. He is going to swallow everything that they are feeding him because he is bought into the liberal left-wing media.
I'm gonna gobble it up and never let it be seen again until I take a number 2.
He's absolutely full of socialism and Antifa.
Oh, he's wrong. Just ignore him. I know what I'm saying. He's a little lost. Look at how many flags he's wearing if you're watching the video.
And yet my opponent wears 0 flags. Could he be a communist? Absolutely.
No, because my suit's blue.
Just like a Democrat.
So we're going to switch lanes a little bit here. We're going to go over to Jody from Oklahoma City, and he sent a very important question regarding the giant cock ring in downtown OKC. To give you guys some perspective, the project is an art installation that's meant to hide a giant power transformer for the downtown streetcars, but the unfortunate placement of the letters O, K, and C repeating in various random positions lead the eye to believe the word cock is repeated over and over on a large silver ring in the middle of downtown. Jody writes in, "Gentlemen, in the past you lobbied to build the world's largest cock ring in downtown OKC. My question, sirs, is why haven't you taken a hard stance on the use of the cock ring? You promised great pleasure and satisfaction when erected, but have delivered nothing but premature elation, leaving us residents faking what should have been the climax of our day." Mr. Chex Mix, your answer.
Well, Jody, I just want you to know that you misunderstood that project completely. It was the OK ring. There was no k at the beginning of it. So I'm sorry that you were disappointed by it, but it's a beautiful project, and I think it'll really make downtown last a lot longer and not just finish off too quickly. And I think I really appreciate that question, but I think you should evaluate that project a little bit more and see if you misunderstood something about it. Thank you, Jody, for that wonderful question.
Okay, well, Mr. Mr. Cheerios, your rebuttal.
Well, Jody, I also believe this is a fine question. Cock rings can and should serve the purpose that they are designed for. Now, the OK ring in downtown Oklahoma City is designed for the typical American male to fit inside of. And that typical American male can get enjoyment for hours upon hours if he is the right kind of American male.
Well, I would say that every American male could in fact fit in the cock ring, so I think you're right, Mr. Cheerios.
What I really appreciated, though, about
They
the
can
OK ring...
stay-
I don't want you interrupting me, sir, when I'm talking.
This is my time you have interrupted. We are not in a debate. This is my answer to the question. You have interrupted me.
I want a rebuttal.
You hear that, folks? He wants a butt. A male butt. Because he's a homosexual.
I want every male butt in that OK ring in downtown OKC, because I want democracy coddled up into one location just loving each other.
Did you hear that, folks? He wants butts in an OK ring. He doesn't even know how OK rings work.
Mr. Chex Mix, do you not in fact know?
I do know, but this OK ring is so large, I think anything could fit in it practically. And I think Ted Cheerios is really taking it out of context. He doesn't understand what the OK ring is, because Ted Cheerios lives in Tulsa, and he doesn't know what Oklahoma City is like.
Sir, my geographic location does not affect my ability to understand the purpose of an OK ring. I'll have you know.
But it does help you not understand what this project meant to Oklahoma City.
Yes, but I have never seen
You
a
were
butt
just
go
lost
in an
on that.
OK ring before. Sir,
Well,
sir,
Gentlemen, please.
I Joe, I would like to move on to the next question because we're not getting anywhere with this kind of arguing from our candidate Cheerio over there.
We'll just let you both have your opinion until we have an ulcer ring.
I believe Bill Checksmix has dragged this question on long enough.
Very, very compelling arguments from both sides, gentlemen. Thank you so much. We're going to go to one more question from our last listener in Oklahoma, our last Beardo in Oklahoma. Michael writes in, what is your preferred sitting position, beverage, and meal while you're contemplating how to take away the rights of women and queer people? Let's start with you, Mr. Cheerios.
Ah, yes. My favorite sitting position is upright, with a stiff back and a stiff whiskey to pair with it. While I smoke Cuban cigars that I have imported illegally that you cannot access and I have legislated away from you, I also eat a pound of man liver every evening to gain another man's power. And with this, I gain so much power that I can legislate away the rights of anyone I choose. Excellent question, Michael. The legislative process is very unclear sometimes, and I'm happy to unmuddy the waters for you.
Well, Mr. Checksmix will ask you the same question. What is your preferred sitting position, beverage, and meal while you contemplate how to take away the rights of women and queer people?
Michael, that was a fantastic question, and I'm so sorry that my uncultured opponent gave you such a ridiculous answer. But I love to sit with my ankles crossed because that is a delicate position, and I was raised by a very firm-handed mother who wanted me to be grown up quickly. And as I'm sitting there with my ankles crossed, I think I like to drink a nice French 75 because I like the taste. And then I will eat an omelette du fromage because I am cultured, unlike my candidate. And you want someone in office that knows something a little bit more than just talking out of his ass from his ring.
Well, I don't know about talking out of my ass, sir, but I do understand French 75 and omelette du fromage are both French in origin, sir. And I believe that any man who enjoys such French things while legislating away the rights of Americans is a communist and belongs to Antifa.
Whoa, scathing remarks from across the aisle on that one. Do you have any rebuttals for that one, Mr. Checksmix?
I am not playing this game of dirty talk like my opponent seems to think that everyone wants to do. That is not what democracy does.
He won't play games up here, but he will play games with your votes, citizens.
And Ted Cheerios will play games with your heart.
He thought that I wanted to have sex with him when I asked him how his day was.
He texted me at 11 p.m. that said, "You up?"
I do not understand the context of that question.
I don't know. Mr. Cheerios, were you in fact up?
When reached for questioning, Ted Cheerios was unavailable.
I'm sorry, sir. You can't just say that you're unavailable when you're right here.
Ted Cheerios was unavailable for questioning.
Okay, so that's what we're doing. Okay.
As you can tell, my opponent keeps pleading the fifth because he has no reasonable answer for you.
You see, my opponent believes that pleading the fifth simply means not answering a question, when in fact it is a civil right that you should be able to practice when arrested by police officers. He has no understanding of basic due process, and you should not vote for Bill Checksmix.
No response. I see. Well, we will just move on. This is going to be our final question before our commercial break. This is a question from an out-of-state Beardo. We have 3 inquiries on our docket here from Aaron in Chicago, Illinois. His first question for both of you is, what part of the spit roast are you? We'll start with you, Mr. Checksmix. What part of the spit roast are you?
That, Aaron, is a fantastic question. Because you see, in politics, it is like a working gear, and I'm going to work hard to spin until the wheels of democracy, to roast the Democratic Party, and then I'm going to thrust the pole of dignity back into this country, and I will spread the seed of nurture back into this economy because our economy is terrible. And it's all because of people that Ted Cheerios has worked with for years. And I want to take this economy and bring it back with a smaller government like we used to have back in the early days when very important firms could succeed. You know, the simple ones like Lehman Brothers and Bernie Madoff and WorldCom and Enron. Back in those days.
So you're saying that in this instance that America is a rotisserie chicken, and you are one of the two very important pillars that is going to be on one end just skewer in that country. Very interesting.
I am both pillars to hold this spit roast up.
Wow, playing two parts. Very good strategy here. Mr. Cheerios, which part of the spit roast would you be?
First, I'd like to say that I don't believe my opponent has ever spit roasted anything in his life. He has only ever eaten cheese and eggs made in French style. He admitted it earlier, and you heard it here, Americans.
He
Whereas
sure did.
I have spit roasted entire pigs. I have spit roasted chicken. I've spit roasted every variety of animal you could possibly believe. I have put it in both ends.
I can imagine a lot.
And men.
I only eat men's livers.
So you're saying that you ingest men daily.
I never said daily, but yes, I will consume a
You
man's
said
liver
every
for his
night
power.
for dinner you have male liver.
Only when I'm contemplating how to legislate away the rights of women and homosexuals. And, sir,
Which
it is
is
still
every
my
day.
turn to answer.
You do
You
this
are on my
every
time,
day.
sir.
You
sir,
are
sir, you are on
ingesting
my
men
time.
on a regular
you are on my
basis.
time. You are interrupting me again.
Gentlemen, please, please.
That is to say, I will go on one end of the spit roast to hold the foundation of the meat up, and then I will go to the other side for balance, and then once the meat has been spit roasted properly, I will turn it like I turn the gears of change in this nation to change us back to the way we were in 1959.
Ah, well, very interesting take.
Ted Cheerios wasn't even born in 1959. How would he know what it was like?
I was born in 1958, sir.
December 31st of 1958. You weren't even awake, hardly.
I popped out of my mother's womb awake and aware and running for Congress.
Eating men's liver from day one.
That is correct.
You've put men in your mouth for that long. What a shame, America. What a shame.
At least I've not been putting men's penises in my mouth, unlike you.
You have specifically said Donald Trump's teeny weeny micro peenie or whatever it is these days, micro machine something. You've put it in your mouth.
So you believe that Donald Trump is only a man and not a god among men? You heard it here first, folks, that my opponent thinks that Donald Trump is only a man. Donald Trump, our Lord and Savior.
You could tell Ted Cheerio has nothing to do with religion because Leviticus 11:74 says specifically that you should worship no one else but God himself, and Trump is not a god.
Blasphemy.
Very shocking events happening on the stage here, folks. Ooh, now let's cool down a little bit. Let's get our wits about us. Let's focus on our second question from Aaron. It's a very, very well thought out question. It's going to invoke a lot of thought among all of our listeners. And I think it might be one of the most important questions we have during this entire debate. Are you both ready? Are you sure?
Of course.
Absolutely, Joe. I can't wait to receive the word you're about to say.
Do you really need to orate every fucking thing you say, Bill Checksmix?
Yes, because I am a professional.
All right. Well, if you gentlemen think you're ready, here's our second question from Aaron, everyone. Here we go. Poppers? Mr. Checksmix, thoughts?
If we're talking about Rice Krispies treats, then yes, because I love a good snap, crackle, pop. They are delicious with just a smidge of sugar on them in the morning, and I also love them mixed with marshmallows and put into squares, as as Rice Krispie treats, I believe the young ones call them.
Excellent answer, and definitely what Aaron meant, I'm sure. Mr. Cheerios, what are your thoughts? Poppers?
Well, first I will say my opponent has been very disingenuous with his accent this entire time. I do believe he is faking it. Secondly, I don't think that my opponent understands what a pauper is. A pauper is one of those poor people on the streets, and I am against paupers. I think that paupers should be disposed of.
Yes, that is also, I'm sure, what he meant.
I just want to call out that my opponent likes to call out my accent, but it's because I'm cultured that it keeps changing, because I sometimes don't remember where I'm at.
It is only because he is disingenuous. No man should be able to shift between accents like that unless they are a liar.
I'm no liar, sir.
Very heated exchange once again. That is definitely the poppers that he was referring to. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Our final question from our out-of-state beardo, Aaron. Gentlemen, if there's no pink, do all three go in the stink? Mr. Cheerios.
Yes. Next question.
Very good, very good. Mr. Chex Mix, what are your thoughts?
I vote no to stink, but pink starbursts are delicious.
Oh, okay, great. Very good. Very good. I'm sure Aaron is very satisfied with those answers. Thanks so much, Aaron. We appreciate those questions. Well, that brings us to the end of our first segment of questions for our candidates. We're going to go into our commercial break. Now from a word from our most important sponsor, the Beards and Sundries Market.
Take a break and take a listen. What's the rush? That's BS. Beardo shop at Beards and Sundries. Hey, that's us! Save your time and save your money. Shop with us. Beards and Sundries. Come on down to Beards and Sundries, a name you trust.
You lead a busy life, and in today's hectic world, sometimes you just need a break. So why not come on down to Beards and Sundries, the market where 3 gay men with beards stock a new sundry item each week. We have all of your favorites at ridiculously low prices. Come pick up a 5-gallon bucket of Jay's diarrhea. Grab a pair of Joe's favorite melons. Or just watch Anthony stock the eggplants. Whatever your fancy, you can find it at the Beards and Sundries Market. So when you need a little break from reality, just remember to look for that good old BS.
And we are back. We're continuing our very important debate today. Candidates, we're going to shift gears here a little bit, and we're going to hear some very special questions from different Beards and Sundries employees from all over. Now, to keep their identities private, they have submitted their questions from their definitely real and definitely not fake Twitter handles. I'm going to read you their handle, their question, and then we're going to let Ted Cheerios answer first, and then Mr. Bill Chex Mix will answer his version.
Perfect, Joe. Perfect.
That is acceptable.
I will submit each question, and it will be up to both candidates to answer in a way that will sway the votes to their side. We'll start with Mr. Ted Cheerios, and then we'll get a follow-up from Mr. Bill Chex Mix. Our first question comes from @FairyElf96. How do you plan to fix the Rice Krispie party drug being circulated in gay clubs? I've seen Jay try to slip it in some poor sap's drink.
The answer here, fairy man, is that I will eradicate gay clubs, thus solving the problem at its root.
Mr. Chex Mix.
Well, my opponent, as you can tell, wants to literally get rid of people, and I don't believe in that. But I do believe that we'll change every gay club into a gun club, because that's also the same amount of letters, and it won't be much in marketing, and we'll get everyone out because we'll have to worry about guns now rather than drugs.
And Mr. Chex Mix, how much will this silly little plan of yours cost Americans? How many tax dollars will go into the conversions of these gay clubs to gun clubs? A simple law eradicating the clubs will cost next to nothing.
I want everyone to listen to those exact words you just heard from my opponent, Ted Cheerios, that he doesn't want guns.
How do you think I propose to eradicate the gay clubs, Mr. Chex Mix, without guns? Do you think anything can be eradicated without guns?
Mr. Cheerio, you have to understand we're going to have all those empty buildings once you get rid of gays that we're going to need to fill them with gun shops for our regular people.
Citizens, do you believe that you should be paying for other people's guns? That's socialism. That's gun socialism.
I think you're crazy. That's what you are. You're fucking crazy.
Gentlemen, very good. On to our next question from @Cinnabong420. If elected, what is your stance on the Applejacks reform, legalizing marijuana in Oklahoma? Mr. Cheerios.
I believe that marijuana should be legal for the wealthy elites, as long as they are Republicans.
Okay. Mr. Chex Mix.
I'm not even going to fight this. I know everyone wants marijuana, and I absolutely support it because I'm high right now.
Wow, flying high on that stage.
That would explain a lot. Americans take note. Bill Chex cannot show up to a debate sober.
America, take note. Bill Chex Mix is hip as shit.
Very good, very interesting. Our next question from @BangBang0. If the Supreme Court overturns gay rights, what is your stance on the Fruity Pebbles Act? Mr. Cheerios.
I would never call an act fruity, but I do understand overturning gay rights. It's unnatural. It is not part of the modern family unit we are striving for in Donald Trump's America, where there is a man, a woman, and 2 children, possibly a third, so long as the genders are balanced.
Okay, Mr. Chex Mix.
I have to be honest, my opponent hasn't read anything about that act. Because that question asked 2 different things. The gay marriage turnover, I'll kind of just pass off because I don't want to piss off the wrong crowd, and that might vote against me. But the Fruity Pebbles Act, that is to protect the rights of Fruity Pebbles cereal. And I used to eat that as a kid and loved it. And I'm going to keep that shit around.
My opponent clearly doesn't understand what the Fruity Pebbles Act is. The Fruity Pebbles Act...
Oh, well, will you tell me what the act is about then?
I will inform you, considering you are unable to inform yourself, sir. The Fruity Pebbles Act is designed to protect prehistoric gay men.
Did you mean cavemen?
Prehistoric gay cavemen. It is the same thing. I shouldn't have to elucidate it for you if you weren't so fucking high.
So it's protecting gay prehistoric cavemen. Is that what the bill's about?
That is literally what I just said, you stupid idiot.
As you're all seeing, he keeps telling us that he doesn't want this gay world around, but now he's protecting prehistoric gay cavemen.
I just said I don't support the Fruity Pebbles Act. Do you not understand? Are you too stoned to be debating tonight?
I'm trying to confuse the people so they don't vote for you. I chose to show up, didn't I? I'm right here.
This is why marijuana will be illegal, because clearly no man can operate under its influence.
Well, you just fucked yourself, because even Republicans want marijuana.
Especially fruity gay men like Bill Chex.
The current Oklahoma governor just announced that he even has done marijuana. The reddest fucking state in this nation has marijuana users as Republicans, and you want to go knocking it down?
Are you telling me a sitting Oklahoma governor admitted to committing a felony crime within his own state and hasn't been arrested yet?
Absolutely.
That sounds correct.
Because he commits a lot of crimes, and that's why we're going to vote for someone else later, but we'll talk about that later.
Thank you, gentlemen. On to our next question from @MonsterSexual6669. Fuck, marry, kill, Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry. Mr. Cheerios.
I believe the Frankenberry is a woman, so I will fuck that. I also believe Booberry counts as a ghost and is not alive, so I would marry the Booberry, since it is no longer a gender-specific person. Wait. No, that is not my stance at all. Ghosts have genders. They are male and female. They are assigned the day they die with either a penis or vagina on their person.
Okay.
I do not... Shit.
You don't shit?
Ted Cheerios no longer wishes to answer this question. It is too homosexual.
Okay. Well, we'll go over to you, Mr. Chex Mix. Fuck, marry, kill, Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry.
As you can tell by my opponent, he is not confident in anything he says. And I am very confident that I will fuck Frankenberry, marry Count Chocula, and murder Booberry, because ghosts are devil's talk.
Ooh, okay.
Did you hear that, folks? He intends to murder a ghost. How? The ghost is already dead.
Exorcism, you silly!
Demons are possessors, not ghosts. Have you even read the Bible?
I absolutely have read the Bible. You know, in Mark 60:11.
You see, Mark doesn't even have 60 chapters. Leviticus doesn't have 111 chapters. This man has never read a Bible a day in his life. Whereas Ted Cheerios has ingested every Bible he has ever come across for its power.
Which would make me more religious for the people to love. Thank you for announcing that.
How would you be more religious, sir? Explain.
Osmosis.
Osmosis, how?
Because I devoured the Bibles.
I have devoured the Bibles. You did not. You.
Oh, you devoured them? Oh, shit.
Yes. You haven't even ingested them in written form.
Clearly so.
Sorry, I have lost my hearing listening to Ted Cheerios babble all day.
Do you hear this, Americans? Smoke marijuana and you will lose your hearing.
Eat the Bibles and you won't stop talking.
Okay, I'll jot that one down for later. Okay, moving right on. Our next one from @QueenBee. When do you plan on building the Honey Nut Home for the Elderly Gays, otherwise known as Anthony's Next Home? Mr. Cheerios.
Ted Cheerios needs a moment to process what he has just heard. Can you read the question again?
Absolutely. When do you plan on building the Honey Nut Home for the Elderly Gays, otherwise known as Anthony's Next Home?
I have heard of this Anthony, and I do not consider him old. So I do not believe he would be going to this place that I would absolutely outlaw. This will not happen. The gays will retire the same way every gay should retire, and that is to the deserts of Australia.
Okay, Mr. Chex when do you plan on building the Honey Nut Home for the Elderly Gays, otherwise known as Anthony's Next Home?
Well, what everyone doesn't know is it's already built. And that is because, if you look it up, Ted Cheerios used to be named Anthony, and he's already a near elderly. So his home is every gay's home, and I have nothing to do about that now.
Wow.
I do believe this is slander from my opponent. Libel, even. Lies and deceit.
Oh, am I stooping to a level that you're already used to?
I haven't libeled you a single time. I saw you getting fisted in that elevator by that man.
But you sure as hell stooped.
I stooped to ensure he was not just giving you a regular fisting, a good American fisting, of saying, here I am an American and my fist is up. But instead it was all the way inside of your brown, sad hole.
You could say that was one stoop kid who was not afraid to leave his stoop, all right. Well, moving right along here, we're going to go to a very, very, very important one. So both of you need to listen up. Coming from @TI_GER_er. Even though Joe is great, why won't you sleep with him? Mr. Cheerios.
Simple. He is a man, and I am also a man, and that would be morally incorrect. Joe, you're an adequate human, and you seem like a fine American.
Good answer, I guess. Mr. Tex-Mex. Even though Joe is great, why won't you sleep with him?
Joe, as I mentioned in my opening, you are a beautiful man with a beautiful, beautiful smile. But you're not my type right now. I pretty much just kind of like the young little Twinkie ones for some reason.
Wow, so I'm old and fat. Got it. Thank you, Mr. Chex-Mix.
You see, Bill Chex-Mix wishes to sleep with children, with boys.
That's getting out of line, sir. You should hush your mouth in such a sensitive topic.
I shall not.
Save the children!
I saw your text thread with Matt Gates.
No, that was Matt Gatz. You can't read also.
I can read perfectly fine. I have freedom on my glasses.
You also have bifocals. You could have been looking through the wrong lens.
I don't have bifocals, you fucking idiot. Anyone could see.
It's trifocal, sorry.
These are a single corrective lens.
You see, he has to stoop to the level to argue with me about everything. Stoop, stoop, stupid.
I believe in calling an idiot what it is.
Joe, you can continue. I'm not gonna stoop to his level.
He has a bad back. He can't.
Well, great input, I guess. Well, we have one more, and this is from, it says here, it's actually @Beards Sundries HR, and they just said, we wish to not be associated with this tomfoolery. Well, we've already asked the question, so, sorry.
They've already sent the money, so that also sucks for them.
Oh, we did. Yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this up. It's been really fun, guys. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here. I hate that we had to end it on this note. Are there any final remarks you'd like to leave us with before we get out of here today?
Bill Chex is the best person that you can vote for, and Ted Cheerios is fucking nuts. And that is the conclusion of this debate.
Bill Chex is the best person you could vote for if you want Antifa and socialism and communists, if you would like China to be running your households every single day. If you don't believe in our Lord and Savior Donald J. Trump, vote for Bill Chex. Otherwise, you have one course of action. Vote for Ted Cheerios.
I will say my favorite part about everything he just said is that out of context, I can make a perfect commercial to vote for Bill Chex because he said it first, y'all.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. We've really enjoyed our time with you today. Yep, that's my Uber. So we're going to get out of here. I'm going to head back to not here.
Joe, your moderation has been adequate and acceptable.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Cheerios.
Wonderful job, Joe. Just wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Chex.
You see how he lost his accent yet again.
I'm a little tired. I've worked hard in this debate winning.
Oh, I am sure that's what you believe.
Well, gentlemen, once again, thank you so much. I'm going to head back out of here. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you at the polls. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great evening.
Take a break and take a listen. What's the rush? That's BS. Beardo shop at Beards and Sundries. Hey, that's us! Save your time and save your money. Shop with us. Beards and Sundries. Come on down to Beards and Sundries, a name you trust.
You lead a busy life, and in today's hectic world, sometimes you just need a break. So why not come on down to Beards and Sundries, the market where 3 gay men with beards stock a new sundry item each week. We have all of your favorites at ridiculously low prices. Come pick up a 5-gallon bucket of Jay's diarrhea. Grab a pair of Joe's favorite melons. Or just watch Anthony stock the eggplants. Whatever your fancy, you can find it at the Beards and Sundries market. So when you need a little break from reality, just remember to look for that good old BS.
Well, Beardos, I hope that I, along with our candidates, were able to keep you on the edge of your seat this week as we answered all of the important questions facing our society. Jay, Anthony, you guys missed a really super fun lunch break today.
I'm really sad that I had to work extra long because people sucked, and apparently everyone had to come buy a bunch of flag pins for some stupid debate that I missed.
Yeah, I actually am totally glad that I didn't have to go do that shit. Like, I'll work a little extra time stocking if I don't have to deal with that asshole Ted Cheerios with fuck stick.
Ted Cheerios does look like a big loser.
There were some very interesting arguments brought up today for sure, but luckily it was all very mature and very kind.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Like every political debate.
Right. Just like every debate.
I can't wait to not watch it.
I hope it's on a streaming platform I don't pay for.
Well, to that extent, we would also like to talk for a moment about the importance of voting itself. The 3 of us believe that casting a vote is very, very important, and one of the best ways to make yourself known. We're going to throw in here a very last minute something to check out. And this week we want you to check out vote.org. Vote.org is a very important website that gives you all the tools and resources that you need in order to cast your vote and make your voice heard. You can find things like where to donate. They have a shop. You can find early voting locations. You can read the ballot for your area. You can check your registration. You can register to vote. You can vote by mail. You can get reminders. Anything you need is right there on that site and will help you with all the right tools to cast your vote and make your voice heard.
One of the things I always have to say about voting is I always hear a lot of people say that they don't think that their opinion matters or that they don't get that into politics. And I can tell you for every person that's not into politics, there's 5 more people that are super into politics that want to make decisions for you. And I understand that politics can be confusing, but there's so many things available out there. Joe's website that he mentioned, if you're in Oklahoma, you can actually log into your voter portal and see sample ballots so you can prepare ahead of time for all of your elections. Ballotpedia is a website that also offers explanations for each of your state questions that you need to answer. There are sources out there, and as a citizen of this nation, you are offered so much freedom that all you have to do at an election cycle is do the tiniest bit of research to decide what's best for you and your life. And voting is how you do that. Whether you win or lose, voting is still how you do that. And you need to exercise it. It's vitally important to everyone.
Living in a state like Oklahoma, where we are predominantly a red state by leaps and bounds, it can feel a little daunting to vote, especially if you, like me, are voting mostly Democrat in most elections. It can feel very overwhelming, and it can feel almost like you're not getting anywhere, but I promise you that you are. And the more people who show up that think the same way that you do, the more likely you are to get the results you want from elections. It can feel very hard sometimes, but don't give up. Practice your given right to vote, and at least you'll know, no matter what the results are, that you did the right thing.
Absolutely. And in the United States, voting is an insane privilege that not every country gets to have.
Also, losing is very normal. If you vote and your candidate loses, that does not mean you lost everything. You just keep trying. That's the art of democracy. It's designed that way. Speaking of, let's see, this episode comes out on Sunday the 6th?
And all jokes aside, Beardos, we chose to do a parody debate this episode because this coming Tuesday is the 2022 Oklahoma gubernatorial election, meaning that Oklahomans will be casting their vote for our next governor. We are at a very crucial time here in Oklahoma, and there are a lot of things happening in the world today. And I, for one, have had it with Kevin Stitt.
Oh, good God.
And I'm ready to choose Joy, Miss Joy Hoffmeister.
I mean, she's literally she's a Democrat now, but she's a moderate Republican, and absolutely 100% will take her. Stitt can go.
She's been quoted saying that she'll hold both sides accountable. She's not just going to side with the Democrats every time. She's going to change Oklahoma.
She's running as a Democrat because she wants to run against Kevin Stitt, and it is very hard to run against an incumbent governor in the same party. It is almost unspeakable for that to happen. So this is your opportunity to get somebody who actually gives two shits about this state into office, instead of somebody who has continually leveraged his connections and his position within government to give handouts to his friends, to give government contracts to the people who basically funded his campaign.
And his company.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is your chance to get somebody who actually knows what they're doing into office. And we don't get serious and political a lot on here, but this is a very important election.
Also, what's intriguing for anybody who's not from a state like ours where we have a supermajority, for example, at election time, even during national presidential elections, when our polls close at 7:01, they announce the winner, that we are automatically a Republican voted state. There's never ever a count. We just immediately are always red. It's insane to see that to me whenever I see so many swing states that exist, and we are a state that just, there is no debate. So to have a situation where we have a Democrat right there border with our Republican governor in this debate is wildly out of the norm.
It's very different in the past couple of decades, maybe as far back as the 90s, but we did used to go back and forth. But political parties have become so biased to the degree that people will vote, they vote only along party lines. Yeah, they'll literally hit the R at the top and say, I'm good to go. But a lot of times you won't. And this goes for both parties. That really, you just need to take the time to look at these people's stances,
read the
look at
ballot,
their histories, take the time to learn a little bit about what you're voting for before you go and throw a name in the hat just because they've got an R next to it or a D next to it.
I would be fine outlawing the single party ballot option at all, where you actually have to go through and make the vote. Because I'm just like, because I feel like that's how a lot of these random people win, is because they're just in the Republican Party and somebody went, yes. Which we're wildly controlled by rural voters, which is strange to me. But that's all that votes out there is red. That's all they know what to do, I think.
I mean, you're right, and it's so funny that it's so easy to vote for somebody who is not going to benefit you just by voting that single party checkbox. And it's so important to take the time to learn about your candidates and learn about what it is that they have done and learn about what it is that they are saying they are going to do, right?
Because voting records are public record, so you can check those things.
And you know who has an immaculate voting record? Bernie Sanders.
Does have a good
it gets
one.
me so hard thinking about his voting record. He's so consistent. Good God.
Is it time for closing out?
I hear the music coming back on. It's been a really fun time for Jay and I covering for Joe while he's been gone. And by fun, I mean fucking awful. I'm used to being a stock boy. I want to have my AirPods in. I want to stock some shit. I don't want to talk to anybody. And instead, I had to go up to the front and check people out. And it's fucking awful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I'm really sad that Anthony and I missed the debates completely. We definitely weren't there at all.
Yeah, no, we were not there in zero capacity.
You guys are such master debaters. It was so sad to not have you there. You're just always master debating.
Constantly, basically.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go master debate now because it's getting close to bedtime.
I mean, I've master debated twice today, so might as well go for a third one.
Guys, once again, the user-submitted content that you send us is just absolute gold. We couldn't have done this week's episode without it. It was just A+ all around, everyone.
We really couldn't have. And let me tell you, thank you so fucking much for that. Anytime we ask for user-submitted content, please send it, because I can't tell you how much of this we're going to have to edit out because we just break down every time we hear some of this stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, a lot of this stuff comes from people that keep in contact with us on a regular basis.
Yes. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, John.
So if you want to message us, please go ahead. We love it. Michael, Jody, you guys definitely have kept up with us on this too. And Patrick, we've really appreciated all of you. I can't tell you how much I enjoy hearing from everyone and all the comments we get now. It's been a blast.
and if you haven't done so yet, share us with a friend, share us with a coworker, share us with anybody. You know the links. We have the email address, beardsandsundries@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We're pretty much everywhere at this point.
Or rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening or watching on. 5 stars will get you all the way inside of the podcast.
Because we'll read your review out loud on the podcast.
That's right.
We'll thrust that review into our next reading, and it'll be great.
And while we are sad that October has come to a close, we are happy about November starting up. And next week, we're going to have a very special treat for you guys. We'll be debuting a very new game for you.
No Nut November? I've already failed twice.
We hope you appreciated this kind of different layout of an episode for once. This isn't going to happen all the time, but we love kind of making this spontaneous game this time. That's been a blast. So
let us know what you think about the episode, because this was fun for us to make, but I hope it's also fun for you guys to hear.
yeah, give us a little feedback on this one. We know it's a lot different. This isn't going to be usual, but
No. All this is not anything that would be normal, but it was a fun one. Thought it was important to acknowledge voting rights, but also have a little fun with
in satire.
it. Yes! Except for all the mean things I said about Jay. That was all true.
Anthony is also still old.
Oh no, I'm not old yet.
That is a fact.
So thanks again, Beardos, for sticking around with us. Thanks for hanging out with us on our lunch break, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Yes, bye, guys. We love you.
Love you.
Love yourself.